Welcome back to the Anthony Lee Crypto channel. We are live. It is Monday. What is going on, everybody? How are you guys? We'll take a look and see who's in here in just a second. But first, we got a poll in chat. Super Bowl. The big game was yesterday. Curious to see what everyone thought of at least the halftime show. What'd you watch? Did you watch it? Did you not watch it? Did you tune into the Turning Point USA halftime show? A little off-topic question this morning, but you know, the Super Bowl is only once a year, so let's figure it out. How is everyone this morning? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Got a super important text here. All right, I just had to send a super important text. Anyway, I'm back. Let's see who is here. We got Max, morning crew. What's up, dude? Carrie Benz, hey man. West Coast, John, good morning. Thanos, my main man. Thanos in the house. Salt Chain forgot it was even the Super Bowl. He's so out of the mainstream news. I usually am too. I heard I'm very big into college football. I watch a lot of college football, big time, but not so much NFL. So I just kind of heard something a few days ago. Super Bowl weekend. I was like, oh, shoot. I forgot about that. John checked it out for a little bit. Wasn't too interested. Thanos didn't watch it. Max watched the TP USA show. It was great. I don't get down with the woke anti-American nonsense. You already know what I think, bro. Guns up. John, I streamed it from my phone to see what all the hoopla was about. They did a good job, I think. Definitely didn't want to watch the bunny guy. What is a bad bunny? I'll tell you something in a second. All right. So I was my son Jackson was hanging out yesterday, and hang on a second. Thank you. I gotta take my medicine this morning. I was hanging out with my son yesterday. He's 11, and he's a big gamer, and he's big into WWE and all sorts of stuff, cool stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, you want to watch the Super Bowl later? He's like, I was like, yes. Some Bad Bunny guy is playing halftime show. He's like, I know Bad Bunny. He said, Bad Bunny was in the WWE for a while. I said, oh, Lord. Here we go. Well, I watched the Turning Point USA show, so I'm with you, Max. I thought it rocked. I thought Kid Rock brought the house down. The only thing I didn't like about it, I wasn't a big fan of the Gabby Barrett section. I wasn't. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. The guy that kicked the show off, I can't remember his name. I like him. I follow him. I'm drawing a blank right now. Anyway, I thought he brought the house down, and Kid Rock killed it. The Gabby Barrett was kind of blah. But other than that, I didn't like that it was pre-recorded. You could tell it was pre-recorded. I wish it had been live, but it is what it is. I thought it was a good show. I did not watch the bunny guy. Hawkborn is ready for another dump. John's got his buy order at 48K. Salt Chain's determined to ride this all the way up. You hope it goes lower than 48K. Carrie Benz is more into the World Cup. I never got into soccer. You probably call it football. I never got into, we call it soccer. I never got into that, really. I liked a couple of the players, you know, the more like the personality of the game, personality of the players, things like that. I just never got into it. I don't know. It's just not big really where I'm from in the dirty South down here in Mississippi. Yeah, John, she sang a song about cheating. It was weird. Yeah, you're on like Trinity Network, which is like a Christian network, and they're all about Charlie's beliefs, you know, and he's a Christian, and he spoke about his faith a lot, and you're on there representing him and in honor of him and things like that, and you're singing about cheating and revenge and I don't know. She just didn't fit. It's like she didn't get the memo that I understand that's like your only song. You have like 1 or 2 songs, and they happen to be about that. But you could have done something patriotic. Everybody else saying something patriotic. Even the first guy. Who's the first guy? I can't remember his name. Brantley Gilbert. Even he came out and played the national anthem, and then they all did something about America or something, you know, and she just sang about cheating exes and revenge, and it's like, hey, you missed the memo. It's, you know, I don't know. I just didn't care for it. I just thought it didn't fit the situation. Anyway, what do I know? They didn't ask me. Agreed. And I'll tell you what I thought was worse about her performance is the fact that it wasn't live. It was pre-recorded. They could have edited that. They could have cut the whole dang thing and got somebody who's going to play ball. I don't know. Just me, though. Carrie Benz, who do you follow in football? Your football, soccer, World Cup stuff. Who's your team? I know you're down in Chile. Is that who you pull for? All right, guys, let's take a look at Bitcoin. They're dumping on you guys. They're dumping on you. Took a short yesterday. I gave it to you in real time as I took it yesterday. I closed it this morning. I wish I hadn't have. Picked up $2,200. I actually entered this twice. Entered it. You know how I do when I enter my trades most of the time, unless I'm just doing a quick little scalp trade here with you guys. If I'm entering a decent trade, something that I'm going to give you in Discord, I enter it twice. Enter it 2 times at the same time. I enter a scalp trade, which I did. I think I showed this live yesterday when we went live. I got stopped out of that for $500, and then I also enter a day trade type trade, and I usually give that a little drawdown room, not such a tight stop, and so we made $2,200 on this one. So $2,700 total on this trade. Also gave you guys some. Let's go to the Discord real quick. Gave you guys some altcoin trades yesterday. We made a good bit on the altcoin trades. I showed those. I'm not going to go through all those again. But I did show those yesterday on the live stream. I took one this morning, too. I didn't give it because it looked very dumpy this morning. But I did take one here on WorldCoin. Had a couple partial fills here. You can see these partial fills from this morning. And then I sold and picked up about $800. So I didn't think it was going far. I knew it wasn't going far. And I'll tell you why I knew it wasn't going far. So it looked good. It looked good. And I thought about giving this. And then BlackRock dumped on you. Okay? And they're not the only ones, guys, who are fixing to dump on you. And I gave you guys this in the Discord this morning. I said, be careful. I'll show it to you if you guys missed it in Discord. I told you to be careful if you're looking along here. Right here, I guess who's about to dump on everyone again. Yep, BlackRock. That's not the one I gave this morning. That's from the other day. That's when they dumped on you Thursday, and I told you that was coming. Here you go. This morning, be careful if you're trying along. BlackRock is loading up again. Massive amounts of Bitcoin just transferred to Coinbase from their ETF. And this is it. You can see this was a couple hours ago I posted this. They loaded up some Ethereum and some Bitcoin, hundreds of millions of dollars worth. And they did dump, guys, and that's where we've gotten this dump this morning, this big dump that we've been going through. Let's drop down to like an hourly chart here. This right here, like all of this is BlackRock dumping on you right here this morning, okay? Thus far, they've not been able, see, you know, when people are longing, right? People think like BlackRock and Grayscale and things like that can really massively move the market, but they can't, okay? Sure they can if they unloaded everything they own, but what they're trying to do is sell enough to create a liquidation. And you know, when people who are longing all up in here, they have their stops right below here, right? Most of them. Very few are going to put their stops way down here because that's a massive drawdown. Very, very few. So what they're trying to do is sell on you here and hope you create just a little bit of panic selling that'll push price to here to create a liquidation spike, and then boom, and then they can make massive profits on their shorts from here that they tried to induce by selling here, okay? So they're dumping, okay? They just weren't able yet to push the price below this and liquidate and stop everybody out, okay? But they don't have to move the market tens of thousands of dollars to create a tens of thousands of dollar drop, okay? They just have to move it enough to get you liquidated and stopped out, and then that'll push the price down like gunpowder. So that's what they're trying to do. They dump it on you guys. And like I said, they're not the only ones. I want you to be careful. I showed this yesterday on the stream, but if you weren't here, pay attention to this, okay? Pay attention to this. If you want to know how to determine who's dumping on you, who's potentially dumping on you, go to this website. It's called Arkham. It's Arkham Exchange. And if you hang on one second, I will drop a link here. It is intel.rkm.com. Boom. There you go. Little link dropped in. You can go there. And it brings up, this isn't the page, this is the BlackRock page. I can back out of this. This is what it brings up, okay? And you can search for different things. You can search for Coinbase. You can search for BlackRock. You can search for whatever, and you can modify this however you want. So let me just go into BlackRock here. So I'm going to go search for BlackRock, and I know this page is a little busy. So it might take you a little bit to figure out what's going on. But when you go in here, and I search for BlackRock, it pulls up BlackRock's info. I want to go to this bottom right section, okay? This is what I pay attention to. And you go to outflows, okay? Boom. And it's going to pull up everything that they have going out from their ETFs, okay? And where it's going. Now, this site, if you go back out of BlackRock, it'll show you this entire on-chain everything, okay? Every movement on-chain, right? And they don't know every wallet. Like if you were to go move $10,000 somewhere to Coinbase, they would have it logged, but they wouldn't have you identified probably. But they have identified BlackRock and Grayscale and some of the other major players in the game so they can watch their wallet transfers. And let's go back a couple days. See, you can see a few days ago, this was like Thursday, Friday. This is when BlackRock loaded up and dumped on you, and that created the huge, they weren't the only ones. But that created the huge dump-ola we got last week, all the way down to, what, 60K, sub 60K? They initiated it. These guys, the ETFs, the institutions, and you guys know where I am on that. Y'all know everybody thought institutions, gosh, I will never forget when Bitcoin was running up and ETFs were about to be approved. Everybody thought it was so bullish, it was great. And sure, it was short-term bullish. But guys, I'm going to harp on it one more time. The institutions are not in it to make you money. And for them to make money, you and I have to lose money. Fortunately, in the crew, we're smarter than that, but you know what I mean. They need everyday people like us to lose money, all right? So, because in order for them to make money, they have to sell. In order for them to sell, somebody has to buy. So, they're in it to make money, guys. Do not think for a second because institutions are involved that price cannot go down or it can't go below a certain level. They absolutely can push it below a certain level. And most people, and I've said this before, but they think, for some reason, they think, I guess they just pull this stuff out of the blue, or they listen to folks. They don't actually do any research. They think because an ETF was approved, let's say, I don't remember what Bitcoin was at, 40, 50K, that's where these institutions started buying for their ETFs. And that's not true. They've been buying since like $2,000, $3,000. And when the ETFs were approved, there was an instant transfer from wallet A to wallet B, from wallet A to ETF wallet. That's because they already had the coins. They just weren't in an actual ETF, but BlackRock already had coins. Do you see what I'm saying? They'd already bought. They'd been buying for years at lower prices. And then when their ETF was approved, they just moved from their main wallet to the ETF wallet. Boom, done. So when they're set, people are like, they can't sell below 40K. I'm just throwing out numbers because the ETF was approved at 40K. So they started buying at 40K. No, they didn't. They could sell at 40K and still be at a 10, 20x on their profit, right? Because they've been buying for years. They just didn't have it in an ETF fund yet. So them selling here at 60, 70, 80K is massive profit for them, guys. So if you think this price can't go significantly lower, you're about to get shown. Anyway, I'm off that soapbox, but so if you go here, let's go to today, okay? Let's go to today. This is BlackRock, and I posted this earlier. Revamp, what's up? I posted this earlier in Discord. I'll let you know. Basically, do not long because they're fixing to dump on you, and they did. Here's just some of BlackRock's. You can see each one of these. Most of these are 300 Bitcoin, 300 Bitcoin, and you can click on right here. You can click on it right here to go into each one, and it'll pull up a separate screen. It'll show you it's spent. This 300 Bitcoin, $20.6 million is spent. That means it's sold. If it has not yet been sold, it would say unspent, okay? It would say unspent. And if it says unspent, you see a bunch of these in there like was in there this morning that say unspent, then that means get ready. Now, they don't have to sell. They could be doing something else, or they could be faking you out, which they will do on occasion, but it is very rare, but they'll do that. Maybe once a year, they'll fake you out. Usually when they load up like this, it's fixing to sell, and it's fixing to sell quickly. Usually right then, but certainly within a day or two, okay? And they already sold. They dumped on you, okay? And that's what's caused this $1,000 dump this morning. But let's go look at there's another CEFU. CEFFU is another big ETF, and they were loading up. Let's go to their outflows. They're still loading up. Let's trim it to Bitcoin. Let's see what they're doing. They're about to dump BNB. I just saw, before I narrowed this down, they're loading up BNB. If you own BNB, get out of the way. CEFU's fixing to dump on you. So 28 minutes ago, they're loading up 200 million, 173 million, 172 million. Let's see if they've sold these yet. Unspent. See how this says unspent over here? 173 million. Let's take a look at the other one. They had another one they just loaded up, 172 million unspent. So they've got $350 million here. CEFU, $350 million in the less than 40 minutes. They're fixing a dump. They're just waiting. Let's see about the ones they loaded up 8 hours ago. $350 million unspent. That's $700 million they got staring in your face. A loaded gun. Oh, let's look at the others. They got some from days ago. Let's see if they spent these. Spent. All right. So they have $700 million. CEFU has $700 million that they have loaded within the last couple of hours on chain to Binance. It looks like they're selling through Binance. $700 million they're waiting to dump. Okay. And all of these, and I know I'm harping on this. I talked about this yesterday, but I know everyone wasn't here yesterday. Let's go back. Let's go. I'm going to show you one more thing, and then we'll move on. I'm going to show you two more things. These things are important, guys. You can really front run the market if you watch these ETFs, especially this kind of time of the market where it's bear time, it's down time. You know, on the way up, you don't have to worry about them selling too much, but you got to worry about that now. Let's go look at Grayscale, okay? And you'll need to understand this. Let's look at their outflows, and let's narrow them down. Well, we got the Bitcoins right here. So let's just pick a random one. This one's worth $27 million. Let's just go look. Okay, check it out. So right here, this one, they sold, I don't know, about 2/3 of it, but they didn't sell the whole thing. They did this on several of these from Thursday, Friday, okay? Well, why wouldn't they do that, okay? Why would they load up $300 million worth and only sell half? Why would they do that? I don't know. I really don't know. But chances are what happens is, let's say that they load up $300 million right here, right? Well, as they start selling, BlackRock is selling, CEFU selling, so price is going down, right? Price is going down. By the time they get their 150, they get half of it sold, price is down here. And I'm just making up numbers, okay? Well, they were selling at 72K, and now price is down to 69K. That may not be enough profit for them to sell there anymore, okay? They may like it at 72K, so what they're going to do is they're going to pull back from selling. They're going to let us think it's over, and we're going to rally the price back up here, and then they're going to unload the rest of it that they still haven't sold, okay? That's how that works. Otherwise, they would have sold their half, so we got what we want to get, and they would have taken it off of Coinbase, okay? They didn't do that. They left it there. Why? Why did they stop selling? Why did they not remove it? Why is it still there? Because it's no longer at the price that they want to sell it for, but they're not done selling, so they're leaving it there, letting us bring price back up, and they're going to dump. So you're fixing it to hit with wave after wave after wave of dump. Do not think you're fixing to break through this stuff anytime soon. These institutions are loaded up, and all they're doing is dumping price. If they don't like it down here, they're going to let us build it back up, dump it back down. If they didn't finish selling, they're going to let us build it back up. They're going to dump it back down. And you can see it on chain if you go to this website and you learn the big ones to watch out for. Let me show you the most scary thing of all, okay? I'm not suggesting this is going to happen, okay? You go to MicroStrategy. Everybody knows Michael Saylor. Everybody knows Michael Saylor, okay? Guys, first of all, I don't want to scare you. All of his, maybe not all, I don't know how much he has, but an enormous amount. Enough to make BlackRock and Grayscale look like little children is on Coinbase. I'm talking like billions of dollars of Bitcoin is on Coinbase. So it's been sitting here for months, okay? It's been sitting here, okay? But it is there. And you've heard rumors of MicroStrategy maybe being in trouble. I don't know. I have no idea. But I do know it is one button away from dumping this. And if he dumps all of this, I'm telling you right now, Bitcoin's going sub 10K. There is that much on here. And I'm not saying he will. I'm not saying he will. But I'm saying he has a loaded double barrel shotgun right here. And yes, it's been there for months and he hasn't done anything with it. And he maybe never will. But it is scary. He does have it there. Okay? But he's not like Grayscale and BlackRock. He doesn't load it on and dump it on you all the time. He never sells. He rarely sells anything. And I don't think he's going to, but just be aware. If you ever start to see something that MicroStrategy is actually selling, tune in over here. And if you start to see these say spent, you better get out of the way. Anyway, it's a great platform to kind of go, and it's free. I think they have a paid section, maybe, I don't know, but it's free. You can go look this up. It's free. I created an account, a free account, just because it allows you to set alerts. So I get alerts whenever BlackRock loads big amounts on, and you can set the parameters of your alerts too. Let's go check it out. Carrie Ben says Bitcoin's pumping. Let's go see. Let's refresh. Let's see if Bitcoin is pumping. Well, Bitcoin's pumping. Be careful, guys. Careful, guys. You couldn't pay me to long right here. You could not pay me to long. I just showed you over $700 million in CEFU loaded on, waiting to dump on you. I just showed you that only about half of Grayscale is dumped. They're waiting, and they may not dump today. It may be tomorrow. It may be Wednesday. Maybe Friday. I don't know. But I know they're fixing to dump on you. And you're not going to see it coming. Well, you see it coming. We just showed you. But when they dump, it's going to be instant. Okay? Be careful. The move is down, guys. Even if we move up a little bit today, even if we do something like this, do not get caught with your hand in a cookie jar, because when those guys who are locked and loaded with hundreds, I mean, actually well over $1 billion between them, presses that button, this thing's going to do just like that. It's going to look just like this from Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's going to look just like that. And you know what fuels this thing? Because they don't need, I already told you, they don't need it to go down that much. What they need is to be able to push it down to here, hit some liquidity, and then have you long. And then they didn't sell it all, and so as soon as we all long, price comes up a little bit, and then they say, oh, here we go, fire shot number 2, boom. And then we all long. Oh, fire shot number 3, boom, here we long, fire shot 4, boom. Just like that. That's what they need. So they're trapping us as longers because we don't realize that they haven't sold everything. go to the site. You can see they still got stuff, and that means they're waiting for you to long so that price will come back up, and then they can hit another long squeeze down, guys. That's how this works, and they're not done. I'm just telling you, use caution. And that's not the only metric that shows us we're going much lower, guys. And again, it doesn't happen to happen today. Flashbang, guys. Here comes flashbang. Watch your eyes. No news today, guys. No news. No news reports. We do have news every single day the rest of the week, but pay attention to 2 days here. Wednesday, we were supposed to have unemployment rate last, I think Friday, but it got rescheduled to Wednesday. That is a biggie. The problem with it is it's only 50-50 as to whether or not it misses target. So, but non-farm payrolls is also same day, same time. That is a biggie, okay? All right, those are two biggies. Wednesday is going to be very volatile. However, Thursday pretty big too with initial jobs. The biggie is Friday. We have CPI. Friday is going to be a very, 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 very volatile day, okay? So Wednesday and Friday expect major volatility. The rest of these will be good days also. But Wednesday and Friday expect big fireworks for the Bitcoin price, guys. It's 8:45. Let's drop to the 5-minute time frame. I'm trading on MEXC today, guys. MEXCtrading.com. I'm going to switch out the banner up top so you can see it. MEXC Trading. Trying to pull up right now. I closed my short from earlier. We might can get another trade in here. All right, let's see what we can get coming up, guys. Let's take a look at chat. See what's going on. Carrie Benz likes Colombia for the World Cup. Yeah, revamp. Shorts live, finally. I didn't know if it was working. I tried it out yesterday, but I wasn't sure if it works. So we'll see. But I did figure out how to get it on there. Major pump. John says major pump. Well, we kind of dumping now. All right, guys, pay attention to this. So we are, let me zoom out a little bit here. I'm going to zoom way out. I'm going to go to the weekly. So we're back in this value area range, and I'm on the KCEX chart, but I marked out the Bybit value area range because it is much more respected. So you see that marked out with these blue and red lines here. Value area high for Bybit, point of control, value area low. We are back in it, okay? We did close the week just right at the line, maybe a hair above it. It's pretty dang close, but we're back in it now, and you know what that means. If we close the daily back inside this range, we're most likely to come to Bybit value, point of control, at around 67.3. Guys, if you lose on a daily basis that 67.3, you're, in my opinion, for sure come to the 60K, okay, with a Bybit value area low. But you're probably not going to stop there because you got the wick low from last week right there. So we're going to take this wick low, and who knows where it stops. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen today or tomorrow, but you're there, guys. We're back in this range. We have left the upper range. We're in this range from back here of February of 24 through November of 24, okay, about 8-9 month range right here. We're just back in this range, and you see how long we got stuck in here, guys. So we could be in this for a while. I don't expect to leave this range for a while. Sure, you could wick above it, but I think we're going to be in this range for quite some time. How long? Well, that's a great question. We've looked at this multiple times from multiple different angles, but let's go back and check again. So Here is the last cycle. This is 2022, which is remarkably similar to the cycle we're in now. And by the time we hit this zone, this is where I believe we are in the current price action relative to today, okay? This is the drop I think we are, and we've looked at our circles chart, and we'll go back and look at that again in a second. But we stayed in this area right here from this first initial dump, which we got on, what day was that, Thursday? Friday? Thursday, Friday, right in there. We stayed in this area for 37 days, so about a month or so. We stayed in this area, just chopping around, before finally leaving. And do you see what they do here? So you come down, you set the load, then you come back up, you start to range a little bit, you consolidate, and then they say, okay, we have bottom. They convince you where the bottom is in, and we're moving up. They come up, they take out these highs just to say, kidding, but they have to, in order to get this move down, they have to induce you. They have to make you think we're leaving the range, 200K incoming. They have to get the longs to pile in, the longers of the top, the breakout longers. They have to get you convinced so that you build up enough liquidity here that they can reverse it because they know your stop's going to be here. And once they break that, you see just boom, instant gunpowder to the downside, okay? They need you to convince you that this is a breakout. You put your stop there, your liquidation's there, whatever. Boom, and then they turn it back around. And that's probably what's going to happen here. For the next couple of few weeks, you're just going to dance around something like this. Then you're going to likely see a fake out here. Everybody's going to go long. Stops are going to go there. And they're going to come and say, boom. And once they break this, you're going to see gunpowder to the downside. That's going to get you well below this. It's probably going to happen. Where's it going to land? Great question. Let's go take a look. You've all seen the circles chart. Previous cycle, current cycle. And I understand before somebody says it, just because it happened before doesn't mean it's going to happen again. I agree. But you would be mistaken, in my opinion, not to at least consider this possibility, given how exact, almost exact, this cycle has looked to last. Both on the way up and now on the way down. You got your different circles, your different levels. I mean, it looks exact or extremely similar. And this has been on here for a couple of months now. And anybody who's been a viewer of the show can tell you, long before price was in Circle 8, Circle 8's been sitting here empty, okay? And now we're in Circle 8. So just like Circle 8 last time, last cycle, right here, we look for some consolidation in here, boom, 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 and then finally dropping down into here before ultimately coming. Now, this one dropped below Circle 9. I might be mistaken, but I don't think we dropped below Circle 9 this time. I just don't, okay? This big red candle that caused the droppage right here, that was the FTX collapse, the big scandal. They dumped everything as he was going to prison, hijacked all your funds. Now, that could certainly happen again with another exchange, but short of that happening, in my opinion, this last little dump right here never happens. That's an anomaly, in my opinion. I understand it happened, but I don't foresee that happening again unless you get something like that. Binance collapse could certainly do it, absolutely, for sure. And Binance almost collapsed this last cycle. You remember CZ had to pay something like $2 billion to get out of prison, and then he had to step down? It almost happened, in my opinion. That could certainly happen. Coinbase, they're not going to let Coinbase collapse. That's where all the ETFs are. The government uses it. Coinbase is safe. But yeah, if you see a Binance collapse and sell everything, you've heard the expression, not your keys, not your coins. If your coins are on Binance, they're not yours. They belong to Binance. And they're using your coins to trade against you guys, or at least trade the market. So if something happens and they get liquidated, first of all, you're going to lose everything you got on there. That goes with any exchange. And second of all, that could very likely happen. But the point is, I think short of that happening, I don't see the dip below Circle 9. So, but I do think we're coming into Circle 9, guys, okay? It's going to play out just like this, in my opinion, okay? So that's what I am looking for. Yeah, that'd be crazy if both exchanges had a huge exchange collapse. Yeah, I agree. But it happens. It happens every single cycle. It's never happened with an exchange as big as FTX, but it happens every single cycle. There's one right now I warned everybody about in Discord, a prop firm. So if anybody here uses this prop firm, where did I post it the other day? Right here at Top Step. It's called Top Step Prop, and I don't know anything about Top Step. I've never used them. But I said Top Step is having major smoke right now. They're allegedly denying payouts, freezing accounts, etc. after this latest crash. This happens when shady firms who use your capital leverage trade themselves get wiped out. My advice, where there's smoke, there is fire. Avoid them like the plague, okay? And they may very well be fine, but there's a lot of smoke there right now. And I also said towards the end, I said Top Step may be the first this bear market, but they won't be the last, okay? You're going to see a lot of places, a lot of exchanges, a lot of prop firms, a lot of things this size. You're going to see multiple go down. And if you're on them, you're going down with them. So my advice, any of the shadier or less reputable or smaller exchanges, they may be fine. But several of these are going to go down. So my advice is get on a bigger, more reputable exchange. And I know FTX was huge and reputable. I get it. You never can tell. But that's the first one of that size I've ever seen go down. There will be 4 or 5 this size go down. So just like trading Bitcoin, use the probabilities, at least for now. Until the dust settles, I would get everything off of these exchanges and either onto your wallet, your personal cold wallet, or onto a more reputable exchange for now, okay? Because it's already started, and it's not over. It's not even close to over. When price hits circle 9, that's when you're going to start seeing several of these go under and people complaining that they can't get their money off, they stole their money. That's what I'm telling you now. It's going to happen. Don't be one of those, okay? Because it's going to happen. Anyway, be careful, guys. Yeah, I agree, John. Coinbase is too regulated. I agree. Listen, they got ETFs. They got the government. They're making plenty of money. I'm not saying they're not doing a little razzle-dazzle, but I don't like Coinbase. They're too big brother. They banned me. But, yeah, I don't foresee them crashing anytime soon, if not ever. All right, guys, let's look at the monthly chart, which we called for every month. Kerry Ben says he's still waiting for KCEX to unfreeze his account. What is that, the 13th, I think? 13th? Some of these exchanges don't like it when you win too much money. Kerry Benz was taken to the cleaners over there, winning so much money. They wanted him to verify he was not a bot, because they don't allow bot trading. So 13th. Well, you got it this week. It should be unlocked this week. If anything like that happens again, let me know. I have a rep at KCEX. I can reach out on your behalf. But I didn't know until the other day that I thought you were good to go until you and I spoke a couple days ago, and they had already given you the 13th. So if something happens and you don't get your money by the 14th, sometime on that 13th, not unlocked, let me know, and I have a direct rep over there. I can text him. See if we can help you out, okay, buddy? Anyway, this monthly chart. So for those of you who aren't familiar, every single month I post historical monthly data for Bitcoin price action based upon the month that we're going into, okay? Again, I understand it doesn't mean it has to happen, but it gives us a pretty good indication, and we actually get this pretty dang close each month. So what I have gone through, and let me give you a little flashbang here. I'll just kind of show you. Flashbang. There it is. So I go through every year and I post open, close, wick high, wick low, win or loss, the percentage to the high, low, wick, close, all that stuff, and the high date, low date. And I put it in a table and I get the averages for each, so we can get the average return, win or loss, the average wick high, low, and the average date that each of those are set on, okay? And then it kind of gives us an idea. We can look for consistencies. We can look for patterns here, okay? And this February is a little different because it is our first February post bear leg cross, which is what we call it. when the monthly 5 crosses the monthly 13, which gives us that final bear leg down. So it's a little different. But we actually found a pattern here. And this is what we put on, I did this on January 31st. This has been sitting here. Everybody knows it. You can go back and watch the video. You can see this arrow tip right here. I'll zoom in for you. This arrow tip was right there on January 31st. I did this live on stream January 31st. I put this arrow and I saved this chart. So we were looking for a move up into this box. And don't pay attention to the timing here. This is just an illustration. It just doesn't mean I was expecting this to go out till March, although it probably will. But according to the data, Bitcoin would move up in the first week of the month, okay? We would set the high of the month in the first week, and I wrote the stats up here. The high would be an average of 2.19%, an average of that. Could be higher, could be lower. But that's the average in the first week, and then after that, the average low is 44%. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just showing you the stats, okay? And I actually said, you see my yellow line right here, this green line is the monthly 55 EMA. I said on that stream that I don't think we go this low this month, and I said I think we hold up right there at the monthly 55, okay? Which thus far, that's exactly what we've done, okay? But the monthly average, the historical statistical stats say we come down into here around 48, 50K, somewhere in there. That's what the stats call for. I don't think so. I think we chop around here the rest of the month, and I think in March we come down in here. Okay, that's just what I think, and I could be wrong, and the stats could be correct. Either way, we called this. We came right up into the box, and we have thus far rejected and come to where I thought we would go this month, okay? So we'll see if the rest of this plays out or if it just kind of holds up here. We shall see. But either way, if you played this the way we presented it, you would have had a massive trade right here of about 24, 25%, okay? Given to you on January 31st. Okay? Not only that, we gave you, I give the VIP Discord my trades in advance always, but I also gave you guys this one right here on the live stream, right there. We were right here. We're right here. February 1st. No, we weren't. January 31st. That's right. I just looked at it. January 31st. I gave you this exact same end of the month. I said, this is what we're looking for. I put it on here for you. Boom. I move right up into there and coming down to have this one come down to about 55K. Okay. Which I think is possibly doable. But either way, we came down to 59K. So pretty dang close. 25% move down, guys. I gave you this on January 31st. Right here on the live stream. Good job to those of you who took it. I know some of you took it. I've seen your P&L cards. Good job. Max says he closed his short with me this morning. Thanks for giving us that in the Discord. You're welcome. You're welcome. In case you don't know what Max is referring to, in the VIP Discord yesterday at 9:28 a.m., I said I just took a Bitcoin short at 71.1. That's the one we made $2,700 on. I showed the P&L cards on that earlier this morning. Gave it to you yesterday morning. As soon as I took it, I came in here and posted it. As soon as I took it. And there is one P&L card, and I made $500 on the scalp that I did on it as well. I showed that yesterday also. I don't guess I posted that part, but I showed it on the live stream yesterday. Oh, Max, hitting the gym yesterday. Max was talking me up about some leg workouts. All right, let's see if we can figure out what's going to happen in the kind of short, medium, and long term. For those of you who aren't using the VIX and USDT chart, you're really missing out. Now, we already know that they are loaded up on some of these ETFs, ready to fire that shot on you, okay? But this was our leading indicator. If you've missed all of this stuff, I've been telling you for a couple weeks, watching this stuff, when we're getting these weekly and 2 weekly green dots on the USDT and the VIX, that we're fixing to go down, or fixing to go down hard. I know some of you know what I'm talking about, and you didn't listen. You didn't believe me. And that's okay. You will from now on, now that you've seen this play out. So let's look back at our old chart here. I've got the VIX on the left. In the middle, I've got the USDT plus USDC chart. And on the right, we have Bitcoin. All of these are on the daily time frame right now. I'm dropping down to the daily, and we're going to work our way kind of up here, okay? All right, you can see the VIX. We're going to look down at our cipher indicator for now. You can see the VIX is kind of way down here, kind of low, coming off the daily red dot. Same thing with USDT. However, USDT looks better. You got, you're curving back up here. You got money flow in the green, curving back up here. Bitcoin on the daily, deep down momentum waves in the red, trying to curve back down. Looks like you got a little more downside, kind of maybe here. I don't ever look at these at anything less than the daily, so I don't really care what happens on the hourly. We could go up on the hour, we go down. I don't care. I'm looking for medium, high medium to high medium to macro moves. Let's go to the 2-day. Let's go to the 2-day. And I'm going somewhere with this. All right, 2-day. Got a 2-day red dot on USDT. Looking to put in a 2-day green dot on Bitcoin. Let's go to the 3-day. Three-day looking a little more. Got 3-day bullish divergence for Bitcoin. Like price wants to come up a little bit. Everything looking like it wants to come down on the VIX and USDT, so we could get a little bit of relief here, which is what we're calling for. Just a little bit of relief here. And let's look at the weekly. Same thing. Bitcoin looking like it's bearish. Money flows in the red. That's very bearish. However, it does look like you're kind of bottomed out on stochastic. Momentum's very deep. You could stand for a little relief here. Everything rolling over on the USDT, USDC. Let's break our own rule. Let's go down to the 12-hour. $12-hour on Bitcoin looking to come down. 12-hour on the VIX and USDC looking to come up. So all the kind of medium. Let's look at one more. Let's break our rule one more time. Let's go to the 8-hour. No lower. I'm just trying to figure this out a little more pinpoint accuracy with you. USDC looking to come up. VIX looking to come up. Bitcoin headed down. This looks like Bitcoin wants to come down kind of in the short term. Okay, guys? But moving up to like the 3-day, 5-day, weekly, those look a little more bullish. So what that tells me is for the next few days, we could look for, this could happen faster than we think, guys. This could play out a little bit faster than we think, this little downside move. It's looking bearish. So it's looking like it wants to do a little something like this, maybe a little rotation down here, maybe all the way to the very low, and then some upside momentum. Come take out some of this stuff. Probably not this high. Probably just take out this stuff here, and then chop around. It just tells me we're looking for stuff like this, guys. Very mixed signals, but ultimately starting to look like it wants to find a little bottoming-ish structure in here. So I would look for something like this, then probably come take this high, and then come take our low, chop around before moving up and out. And this could take months. This could take months. What I would actually look to play out, and I know it doesn't really help you intraday, but we're looking at macro, is the rest of the month, kind of chop here, rest of the month, going into mid-March to early April at the latest, setting a new low. And then I think we probably chop around here for the summer. Okay, summers are always boring, and then move up and out into fall. I think we could be way ahead of schedule here. And a lot of this goes down to our chart here with our cross, our monthly cross we've been talking about, right? We're ahead of schedule. We're significantly ahead of schedule post-cross. So I think we could be in for actually a little bullish fall, a little better than you might think. So, yeah, that's what we're looking for. Kind of short-term, just chop, leading to an ultimate bottom low. So it'll look something like this: short-term chop, ultimate bottom low, chop around to the summer, and then move up and out. That's what I'm looking for. Pretty much exactly like this. Salt Chain says, how much weight was on that sled yesterday? 510 pounds. I have 510 on there. I don't know if I have that video. I showed a video yesterday, guys. Oh, here it is. Bear with me. I know we're off topic. 510. Max asked about this yesterday, too. 510. For those of you who don't know, I was a trainer for 20 years, personal trainer, before I retired. And I've been full-time trading for about 10 years now. But I went through some pretty significant health things in the last year. I got really weak, just bad, nasty stuff. And I finally pulled through in the last few months. I've been trying to get my strength back. I've been feeling a lot better, getting back up to it. And here it is. I found it. Check this out. A little sled from yesterday. It's a short video. I'm sorry, guys, off topic. That's 510 pounds. I did 10 down and backs on these. 10, which about killed me. 510 pounds. That's the easy part. The pushing, that's the easy part. This is the hard part, the pulling. If you've never done a sled and you push it and you think, oh, that was easy, pull that sucker back. Pull it back like that. Do it a few rounds and your legs are going to be on fire. You're going to be nauseated. It's terrible. I did 10 rounds of that. Anyway, finally getting my strength and size back. Feeling good. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I almost did throw up after 10 rounds of that. I did a round, I'd rest a minute, do another round 10 times. I thought I was going to throw up. And so I call him a kid, this guy, I'm 44. This guy was probably, I don't know, 28, 30. He was like, oh, hey, can I work in with you? I was like, yeah, go ahead. And I think he did 3 rounds, and I could see he was turning green. He was turning white, green and white, somewhere in between there. And he's like, oh, I'm going to go work some arms now. So he walked over to the arm machines, and then about 10 seconds later, he didn't do anything. About 10 seconds later, he walked out the front door. I told Catherine Lee, I said, he's going to throw up in the parking lot. Youngster can't hang. Kerry Benz gets tired getting out of bed. Yeah, hey, man, that was me. Listen, I went through some pretty significant, I'm not woe is me and health stuff, and I would try to get my workouts in. I was a trainer. I'd try to get a workout in. I'd go do 3 or 4 sets, and that was it for me. And normally what I might do 20 to 30 sets, I'd go do 3 or 4, and I'd go take a nap. That was it. I couldn't do anything. I thought I was going to die. I literally thought I was going to die. Yeah, that's funny, though. Yeah. So we'll go for 600 pounds next week. I have to get Catherine Lee to sit on it. She doesn't weigh much. She's like 6 foot tall, though, so she's got that height, weight. Okay, we're getting some large BTCs moving on to Arkham. See, I have my alerts set, guys. See if we can see them real quick, and then we're going to move on. If you have any questions, you want to talk about anything, any questions about any Bitcoin, what I'm looking for, or your altcoins, you want to look at your altcoins, drop them in the chat right now while I'm looking up these to see what just happened. See if Cephew's dumped on you yet. Cephew still has not dumped. They still have their loaded gun there. They've got several of these big transactions there waiting. Nothing else really significant since that big Cephew, other than the BlackRocks, which they already sold. And remember, guys, just because you don't see, this is how they lull you to sleep sometimes. You can go look through here and you don't see today or yesterday any other really big transactions waiting to be sold, but Grayscale's got theirs there. They only sold about half from Thursday, Friday. So at first glance, you think, oh, well, it's just a couple big orders here, no problem. Grayscale's still sitting there locked and loaded, ready to go. But a lot of people would overlook it because it's not right here on the main screen. But it's been sitting there. It's waiting. They've already sold about half last week. They're just waiting for you to get priced back up to that spot where they want to sell. So be careful. Let's see. We had this other big 150 mil come in. 150 million. That's it. So you got the CEFU. You got this new 150 million. It's unidentified. Anyway, that's about it. However, that is enough between CEFU and Grayscale. If they both pulled the trigger at the same time, that is enough to give you a big drop to the downside. Sol, you want to see Sol revamp? Let's look at Solana. I almost spot bought this morning with this dump. Let's look at Solana. Start out on the weekly. Haven't updated this in a couple weeks. Got a new swing low here now. Solana back in the range. Solana looks terrible. Well, it doesn't look bad right now, but it has potential to look very terrible. Solana's coming significantly lower, in my opinion. Let's throw the upper range on here. We got the range of the whole Solana. Let's throw the upper range on, though. All right, you've lost the range. You've lost the upper range. You see it. It looks just like Bitcoin. You've lost the upper range. You had this big head and shoulders pattern. You've broken the neckline. You've lost the upper range. You're now in this bigger macro range, right? You see it here, the bigger macro range. Point of control is way down here. You have confirmation on a weekly level below the range high. Your next stop is going to be right down here where I have the green box. Point of control. You have a huge imbalance right here, massive imbalance. This has got to get corrected. You've got weekly vector candle here unrecovered. So Solana's coming down. Ultimately, I would target somewhere around, yeah, believe it or not, some like $13 to $15. 13 to, just call it, I'd target sub $20. Really, probably sub $15. A lot of people think that can happen. That absolutely can happen. Everybody thought it couldn't happen last cycle. You came all the way down to $8 from the same high. Came down to $8. I think you're looking at something best case scenario, $13 to $15, and it's coming. It's coming. This imbalance will have to get corrected. This is a market maker candle right here, vector candle. Good fair value gap right there. Order block, weekly order block. You'll come fill that. You'll come fill that. That's somewhere around $25. Weekly level right below it. Get this big swing low here, point of control. You're coming. Most coins, the thing that's deceiving about Solana is most coins are already down here. Most coins are already down here, or even lower. Most of them are. There's a few that aren't. XRP, Solana, Doge. Let's look at XRP. XRP has not made its way down there yet, but it's coming. We're on the weekly. You got this weekly vector right here, completely unmitigated. You'll come get that. And you'll probably, and if you lose that, you already know you got a chance to come down here, but I don't necessarily think XRP comes down there. I do think you're coming down in here somewhere, 50 cents, 60 cents. This is thick chop. You could absolutely dive into this and find some support right around there and then come back up and out over time, a few months here. It looks just like Solana. I think Doge, if I'm not mistaken, looks similar. Doge is a little more. Last time we looked at Doge, it was right up here. So Doge has already made that move down to point of control. Solana has not. XRP made about half of it. H-bar was another one that was holding up fairly well. Last time we looked at it, this was up in there. It's headed down here also. It's already made it about halfway. So Solana's holding up better, but they're all doing the same thing. They're all just They're all just rotating the value area range, rotating the volume profile, and they're headed down here. Most coins are already down there, which is interesting for them. Do they find their bottoms there, or do they go lower? That'll be interesting. This is not interesting. Solana's not interesting. HBAR's not interesting. XRP, we know where they're going. They're coming down here like everything else. What's interesting is the ones that are down here. Is that it? Or do they break these lows? That's scary. Yes, Solana, can we go over HBAR 2 since that's one of your big three now? Yep, just did it. Just did it. There's the HBAR. I know I kind of cluttered up this chart. Just did it. This is what I'm looking for on HBAR. I've got, for most of these, I have green circles. These are target areas. If we come this low, if we come to this green box, just a simple law of volume profile, we probably go ahead and come to this point of control, but I'm a buyer in here. What I don't want to do is come in here, all these good target areas, weekly, monthly, swing low, 2 monthlies and 2 weeklies here and a swing low, and assume we're coming here. And the next thing you know, I'm rebuying in here on the way up, okay? I don't want to do that. So I actually think we probably come here, right? I think we probably come here because that's just simple volume profile rotation. But I'm a buyer at this green box. Never try to time the top and the bottom, no matter what you're doing, no matter what move you're doing. I mean, if you were to take a long right here and you think it's coming to here, take profit right here. Because what if they front run your level? And then you're left taking profit back down here, or worse, stopped out of break even. Go ahead, don't do that. Same thing when you're buying. You can just start laddering in like that. I don't do that. I just look for my target here, and I front run it. And that's where I go. Especially with alts. Any other altcoins you guys want to look at, guys? We will look at them. They're all pretty much the same story. Some of the others, Algo, WorldCoin, they're already down at their lows. That's what I mean. That's the interesting part. You're already taken out the value area low. And this is a coin that's been around for 7 years. And you just Thursday, Friday, you just took out the lowest it has ever, ever been. So this is the interesting part. You're down here. Solana and all those are not down here yet. XRP not down here yet. These coins, look, WorldCoin's below it. WorldCoin is still below it. It's not below. Now, I do think if your coin, most coins have, but if your coin has not taken out October 10th low, you remember that crazy sell-off on Bitcoin, everything, just that stupid, ridiculous sell-off, I do think everything takes that out at a minimum. But WorldCoin, you're already below your value area range. So don't think your coins are holding up at value area range. If WorldCoin is any indication, and maybe yours will, but you absolutely can come down below the low. So I'm looking for WorldCoin to take this out. I'll have a massive buy order set right about here because I like WorldCoin. Even though the chart looks terrible. Sui, we looked at Sui the other day. I didn't save it though, so let's go back and take a look at it. All right, let's look at Sui. So volume profile on. I'm not going to include this first opening wick or candle, excuse me. Same thing. It's just rotating the volume profile. You have not taken out your October 10th wick. You come for that, in my opinion. And if you come for that, that makes you lose point of control. So I think you come down to value area low. You could actually sweep your all-time low here. But in fact, you probably will. I don't see them coming to this, even though it's a full rotation volume profile, and not just dipping below to take this all-time low. I don't count this as all-time low. This is when it was released, so you know how that goes. I would target Sui if it were me. right there. 36 cents, something like that. 36 cents. This actually doesn't look terrible. This looks like a good, anything can happen with the narrative, but this, for the next cycle, who knows what happens between now and then with SUI could go to zero, but this actually is some good structure for the next cycle. I look at coins in terms of liquidity, so where might they bring price action next cycle, right? Just like you would trade Bitcoin, right? Because the days of 1000x coins are over. Now, you may have a couple of meme coin exceptions, but I'm talking for the most part. And you had a high here. Then you came down, you set a series of lows, right? And then you set a high, low, and then you took this high. So you grabbed the liquidity from this, right? I've already preached to people that there is not a lot of liquidity at all-time high or all-time lows. There's just not. Number one, when you're up here at all-time high, you don't know that that's all-time high until it's too late, right? So nobody really just blind shorts this because they don't know if it's going to come up and this is going to be high or this is going to be high. You don't know. So nobody really shorts that. A couple people maybe. But also, most people don't ride this down now 85% and have their entire order still open. Most of them have closed most of their trade out. So the ones that did have stops and liquidation points above there, they're mostly closed out by now. And by the time you get back up there, all of them will be closed out. So there won't be any liquidity left to grab up there, right? So where might there be liquidity? Well, there would have been liquidity here, but that got grabbed with this. So now you just have this as liquidity right here, and this. None of this has been taken. This hasn't been taken. This hasn't been taken. Nothing has been taken. So when you do come down, this is good. You could certainly come back up and take this one. Worst case scenario, which if you came to the white line and you came and took that high, that's still 460% gain. But none of this has been taken either. So you could actually come grab all of this, which will give you about a 10, 12x. Let's see. 1100% gain, 11x. So I think worst case scenario of 5x, assuming come to the white line, worst case scenario of 5x. Probably the top of the line here for you, about an 11x. I don't think you have a need to set a new all-time high, though you certainly can. But there's not going to be any liquidity left up there. So an underperformance would give you this middle high here. Now let's just for fun see where that would take you if you came to the white line. Right there to the 382. Come take out this 382. It's way too far in advance to predict that though, but you want to be looking at your coins like this so that you know which ones to buy at the lows. Where could these possibly come to? Okay? There'd be no point in them bringing you come here, and there'd be no point in them coming here and just turning it around. Okay? So I'm going to know that probably, unless something bad happens to the SUI coin, some scandal, whatever, they're probably not going to stop here. Why? Because there's no liquidity here. There's nothing here. There's no highs. There's no wicks. There's nothing. The least likely place, the worst case scenario, they're probably going to take it to here because there's liquidity there, right? Liquidity would be above here. So I'm going to want to know when we bottom, okay, what are my worst case scenario? Never look at best case scenario, because what if that doesn't happen? Look at your worst case scenario. I mean, worst case scenario goes to zero, but you know what I'm saying. Assuming there's no crisis, no scandal, worst case scenario, you're probably going to come take this high, about a 500% rally if the bottom is the white line. Start looking at it from those terms, okay? That's the worst case scenario, because there's nothing else. There's no other liquidity in between. There's been nobody's going to short. Nobody's going to fire off a short from current price action, right? Nobody's going to fire off a short from here. I mean, maybe somebody will, and put their liquidation there. Their stop loss. They're just not going to do it. That's dumb. Your stop would go there, right? And that's dumb anyway, because it's bad risk to reward, right? But I'm just saying, if you did it as a professional trader, your stop goes above the high. Everybody knows that. So look at your coins like that. You have to anticipate a bottom, and then where is the worst case scenario liquidity run if they were to go to? And if you're cool with a 5x, that's probably what you're going to get. Worst case. Yeah, revamp. Once alts at the bottom, would I advise on which alts to purchase with a minimum of a 10x rally for spot back holding? I just showed you how to find it. I'm not going to go through all of them yet. I'm certainly not going to go through all of them. There are millions of alts, right? About 21,000, I think, is the number actively traded, so I'm not going to go through them all. But once we get closer to the bottom, I will certainly, just what I just did, where I showed you want to look for worst-case scenarios, right? You want to do that. And once we get close to the bottom, I will go through and do my research. I will actually go through and probably pull out about 50 coins that I do what I just showed you with, and I will look for that very thing, okay? And if I find that SUI, you know, worst case scenario, has got a 5x, but the same coin, same strategy, right, on another coin, its little area here is a 10x, then I'm probably going to go with that one over SUI because I would think worst case scenario this coin's going to get a 10x to its first liquidity run versus SUI getting a 5x. I will certainly do that, but it is way too soon to do that and go through 50 coins and figure that out because we don't know where the bottoms are for a lot of these. Just like we looked at WorldCoin here. Let's look at WorldCoin. I love WorldCoin. It is well below the value area range, okay? But I don't think that coins like XRP or Doge get below their value range. They can. I just don't anticipate that happening, so it's hard for me to determine where their bottom is right now. But let's look at WorldCoin, okay? If WorldCoin comes in, let's say WorldCoin just takes out this October 10th low, which I think all coins are going to do, right? Where is WorldCoin's first liquidity spike? Where? Right here. Major liquidity spike. I don't mean this little chop, 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 chop crap. First one's right there, okay? So if we come there, take out this low, which I'm certain we will, and we run to there, you're looking at a 7x. That's at a minimum. So I'm going to prefer this coin over SUI because that's 200% more gains if both of them just go take out their minimum liquidity hunt. That's it. I'm going to get 200% more. Now, it doesn't have to happen. You don't have to go there. But I'm going to go probability. And probability, as of now, assuming both of these bottom where we just looked at, or where we look at them to bottom at, I'm going to get 200% more by being on WorldCoin. Now, SUI could go set a new all-time high. 11x. Certainly could. But I'm looking at worst-case scenario because if you have an underperformance of an altcoin cycle, I want to know what the minimum I'm going to make is. Not what the maximum if you have some crazy blow off top. That's cool. You can't predict that. But I can, with a greater likelihood, predict the minimum, okay? So, to me, WorldCoin looks better, assuming they bottom where we think they're going to bottom. And that's how I'm going to approach them. And that's how I approached them last cycle, and I did very, very, very well. And it proved to be the case that you didn't have blow-off tops. You had liquidity hunts. Just like you do on Bitcoin, you have liquidity hunts. You take out wick highs. Just like here in the middle of the cycle, you had a high here, you came back, what'd you do? You took it out, swing failure pattern on the next candle, SFP on the very next candle, moved down, set another high, came up, boom, swing failure pattern out on the same candle, moved out, same thing. I'm going to look for the same thing here when the next cycle, boom, swing failure pattern this, and move back down to the next bear market. If we go higher, that's just a bonus. But I'm going to anticipate SFP in that right there. 7x. So if I take 100 grand into this, I'm going to anticipate making $700,000 on this coin, which is what I'm going to take into WorldCoin, by the way. All right, any more questions? Altcoins, Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick before we go. Let's drop down to 15 minutes, see what we're doing. Kind of moving back down here, guys. All you did here was come up and take out the UK high. That's all you did. Took out the UK high. Moving back down. Headed in the trend. Trend from Asia to the UK has been down. Took out the UK high. Moving back down. Probably coming to point of control. Let's see if they're selling on you yet. What do we have? Grayscale from the other day. Grayscale still not sold what they have left in there. Let's look at our SFU real quick. Then I'll let you go. Let's see. Let's see if these are sold. Bitcoin. CFU still is not sold either, so they got a loaded gun pointing at you right now. Both of them. But why are they not selling yet? Price may not be high enough for them to sell. They may want you to come a little higher, so don't be surprised because they have not sold. This is not the ETF selling. They're still waiting to sell. Why? Probably want a little higher price. They don't usually let them sit there more than 2 or 3 days. Okay, so they're looking to sell. Don't get that confused. They're looking to sell. So they could push price up here a little bit higher. Maybe come up into here, 70K range. Or they could just sell right now. I don't know. They're going to sell on you though. They've already got it there. John's looking forward to accumulating in the bear market as much as I can. Yeah, me too. We're already up, guys. I have 2. I'll show you tomorrow. But I have 2 Kraken accounts, $50,000 in each. I've showed these individually, but this one Kraken account's up to $59K. This is since last Sunday, so in the last 8 days, up $9,000 on this one, and I think the other one's up $7,000. So we're up $16,000 in alt trades in the last week. I'll log into the other one tomorrow. I'll show you both. Yeah, revamp. Spot trading, listen. I said this before. I think people don't understand this. It is impossible. Not impossible. Nothing's impossible. But it is where coins are now. It is almost impossible to lose. Okay? First of all, what I mean by that is if you were to spot buy some WorldCoin right now, right? You're spot buying, so you can't get liquidated. There's no leverage. You cannot get liquidated, okay? Unless this coin goes to zero, you can't lose. Sure, you can choose to sell for a loss. Comes down, you choose to sell and take a loss. But let's say you didn't do that. What are the odds of it never coming back to 38 cents when it was at $12 a year ago? What are the odds? Very slim. So what you have to do is just wait till it did come back above there, and then you're in the profit. So it's very hard to lose when you're spot buying altcoins at or near the bottom. Now, if you spot bought at the top, yeah, you may not ever come back there. You might lose. But when you're spot buying at or near the bottom, this is very, very hard to lose. You pretty much have to make a conscious decision to lose. So we make a lot of money. I do a lot of spot trading alts right now. There's not much to make on Bitcoin right now. You can leverage trade a little, which we're going to continue to do. I'm going to ramp that back up this week. I posted in Discord yesterday. We're going to start doing some more live Bitcoin trading and VIP only. Let's look at last week. We typically do this, but this was last week. There was no point in me going live in the VIP to get you guys wrecked on this. You're either short from here or you're not. There's no long to be taken from here, period. So, and you can't short this because you're already down, what, like 50, 60% on Bitcoin. So how much lower can it go? You can't short into the bottom. Sure, it went down. You'd have made some money, but you can't do that. That is a terrible idea. And you can't long these. We tried. We took a few scalp longs. We made some money. But you were either short last week or you weren't. And that's smart trading. However, you can see it appears that we're coming into some chop trading. So this, I'm anticipating with some big news events, this is going to be a good tradable week. And we're going to do some live VIP trading this week on this stuff. So I didn't forget about you guys last week. I just wasn't about to take you into Wreck City and try to find you some longs in here when we were heavy down. And I wasn't about to try to convince you to short the bottom either. I certainly wasn't about to short the bottom. But I did give you this trade right here, guys. Gave it to you. Took it. Gave it to you. I got out too soon. I don't remember where I got out. I'll show my profits. I got out somewhere in there. Didn't really think we would come this low last week. Not in one day anyway. Okay, guys, that's it for me. I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you guys being here. I enjoyed it. The Lord has given us another good day. Oh, let's look at our poll. Bad Bunny poll. Real quick. Sorry, I forgot about that. What do you think of halftime show 56% of you said WTF is a bad bunny. 22% of you watched TPUSA and it was awesome. A couple of you actually liked the Bad Bunny show, and a couple of you were disappointed in the TPUSA show. So pretty mixed crowd. I think most people didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I watched the TPUSA. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I'll be in Discord if you guys need me. Hit me up there. We're looking for trades today, so I plan to do trading all week. Probably a little less volatile today. There's no news report, but we have big news reports the rest of the week, so it should be a good, fun, tradable week. I'll see you guys next time.